What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the SB Fantasy Football Podcast, where, gosh darn it, we try hard. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD. What's up, buddy?
You know what? We just decided to, you hit me up. You're like, hey, what are you doing? I said, just chilling. What are you doing? You're like, want to go live? I was like, okay, I'm in. So here we are. We're doing a little Monday night action just before the game tonight. Here to just kind of talk about the weekend, right?
We
Talk about what
can.
just happened, or are we talking about what's going on tonight? What's going on? Monday Night Miracles? Do you believe in miracles? Yes, I do.
I think it happened last week for me. I was like, I just need a little bit here. I don't need a miracle. I just need a little touch of something. But I pulled up the stats for this game for their season long, their season average, and their projections for tonight for both teams. We usually do the recap on Wednesdays. Tend to get to it, but I'll be honest with you, it was such a wild weekend too. A lot of fun, a lot of crazy scoring again, shootouts. I tell you what, I hope you got to see a couple of these games too. Baltimore and the Bengals, and then you had, what was the other one? Jacksonville, Green Bay, Minnesota. I mean, there were some good ones. So,
Michael, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope Sunday treated you well. Flacco, right? Had himself another game. We talked about it Saturday night. I was like, if you got Flacco, if Richardson is out, play Flacco, because he's going to make things happen. That's
someone
what he
asked
does.
that earlier on one of the shorts that we posted, and they were like, "What do I do if am I starting Anthony Richardson?" I go, well, "What's your other option?" He goes, "I got Flacco." I go, "Well, that's who you really want to start, and hopefully they keep AR out for another game."
Start, right?
Yeah,
I actually didn't get to see a lot because we were at the ball fields all weekend. Kiddo had a tournament. We went deep into Saturday, so
yeah, tons of fun, lots of great games.
I was getting a ton of alerts because my guys were doing well. So getting a touchdown, big play, touchdown, big play. I'm like, all right.
That's one thing. Let's be honest. When it comes to sleeper, they think a big play is anything over like 15 to 20 yards, and then Yahoo's like, "Yeah, it's 40, dude. Whatever. What I mean? And I think that constitutes as a big play. 40, 20 yards.
I think it might have to do with your league scoring, though.
Maybe, right?
Because with Yahoo, I know in some of our leagues, you get extra points for 40 plus yards.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chase show, yeah, dude, Jamar Chase was
Burrow, Chase, and Higgins.
Right? About time with that.
Mm-hmm.
Been waiting for it. Now is CD gonna play a full football game? Because he disappears in the second half.
Yeah.
Just disappears.
Well, it doesn't seem like they want to throw it to him either. And if you're watching like the game, I just saw the highlights because I was like, I ain't staying up. I don't have a dog in this fight. Don't care. I just didn't care. And it's like Dak just either forgets he's there, can't find him, or they're double covering him, right? There's no one else available, right? Brandon Cooks was the next man up, but he was on the IR or he's out, whatever he's on right now. Is he on IR? I think he's on the IR. And so the Pittsburgh defense only has to worry about CD. I mean, but they end up losing the game, and they were like, yeah, this is why you pay Dak. Go 2 for 5 in the red zone before that, and a 2 turnovers. Yeah, that's why you pay him. And then of course he pulls out the win. But I mean, if you listen to Tomlin and any Pittsburgh fan, they're like, yeah, no, we lost that game. It's like, yeah, no kidding. Like, it was yours.
So it looks like Cooks is on the IR, but it's the four game variety of IR, not the season long.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he should be back, but I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, he's wide receiver too. He really just kind of opens things up for CeeDee Lamb a little bit more, and with Nico Collins going down this weekend as well, you don't know how long he's going to be out. I think they updated his status. I didn't get a chance to take a look at it. I was just posting random video after random video today and trying to figure out what Facebook and Instagram are. Like,
right.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. But I mean, Jalen Tolbert's been pretty decent this year.
Productive.
Week 1, I mean, 1 catch, but then 6 catches, 3 catches with a touchdown, 3 catches the week before, 7 catches last night, 87 yards and a touchdown. He had 10 targets, so he's starting to step it up a little bit. Maybe becoming fantasy relevant, especially with all the injuries and the bye weeks we had. That was the big discussion we had on Saturday is what the heck are we doing? The guys were sitting there debating. It's like, hey, should I play Braylon Allen? Well, because I've got this guy, and this guy out. So he's kind of all I have. Like, well, if that's all you got, that's all you got, right?
I mean, I'd play him anyways in one of our leagues. It's the dynasty league. And I'm like, yeah, no, he's going in. The other one, I hadn't even activated him yet. He's still in like my practice squad. I'm like, I don't. I feel like I'm just going to drop everybody and start giving away. I got 2 more draft picks to get rid of. I'm going to unload it on somebody.
Okay. Hi.
What are you saying? Hi.
You send them to me. I'm saying hi to you. I can take some draft picks.
Oh yeah. No, I was going to hit you up and say, hey, take them, because I just need you to throw me somebody. Don't really care who it is. I probably would have gave you one for Jalen Warren.
You want Tua? He's looking good in the future.
I'll give you a trade pick for Tua.
Yeah, there we go. Right. They said it's not looking good for Nico, maybe a couple weeks. So the nice thing about Houston will still be fine. CJ Stroud will still be fine because there's so many receivers there. You had an overcrowded receiver room as it is. So you take Nico away, and that just kind of helps the other guy elevate the other guys.
Yeah, for real. And it sucks. He's having such a great season. Obviously wide receiver 1 in the whole league, not just on his team, but in the league. We were wondering who it was going to be, and both of us kind of settled on it was going to be Nico. Tank Dell's kind of a big play down the field speedster. Diggs is kind of a crossing, middle slot receiver kind of guy. And Nico Collins is a giant human. He's a big boy. You know what I mean? He's a big old fella, and he's coming. Hey, you throw it up. That football's like the one man cold to Nico Collins.
So tonight, speaking of tonight and speaking of players, there's a guy that if you're dealing with a lot of injuries, who's available in 95% of Yahoo leagues right now. You can still go pick him up right now before he hits waivers before the game starts. Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, I put him in my DFS lineup.
With Rice gone for the foreseeable future. I mean, it's looking like he's going to be gone the full season now, I think. He's a couple weeks ago, he got a touchdown. Nothing last week, right? But he got a touchdown a couple weeks ago. He has history with Kansas City. He was on the team a few years ago. So him and Pat Mahomes already have a little bit of chemistry going.
A little bit of rapport.
Little rapport. He's next man up, right? As well as Xavier Worthy. That was a big guy we were talking about a lot on Saturday. What do we do with Xavier Worthy? And I'm like, I'm playing him. With Rice out now, Hollywood never got a chance to even see the field. Worthy, Juju Smith, next guy's up right there.
Yeah, Worthy's projected right now for 11.28 points. And that's in PPR leagues. Juju Smith-Schuster's 550. Those numbers will probably change a little bit once it kind of they seem to go up a little bit right before game time almost.
Right.
Worthy's got you 48.30 points so far this year. And obviously, he had a big week 1, but not much since. But I expect that role to kind of lay in. Now I see his average right now is 12.08 per game. Like I said, after a big week 1. But I mean, you got to go after something. You got to utilize these guys, right? They're going to throw the ball. I mean, do you think Kelsey breaks out this week? I saw Mark Andrew catch 2 balls yesterday.
Kelsey broke out last week.
That ain't a breakout. That was
what do you mean that's not a breakout?
What did he have last week?
He had more yards and catches than he's had all season.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me see. They got Kelsey right now projected at 14.04. Kelsey, he's got 30.90 points on the year. And right now he's averaging, obviously because of just a terrible start, he's averaging 7.73. But
he got you 7 catches for 89 yards last week.
Oh, look at that. That's cute. That's adorable.
He had 8 catches for 69 yards in the previous 3 games. So nice. He doubled his production in 1 week. And look for that to continue to go up, especially, again, with like we were just talking about, with Rice being out. Yeah. And the news has come out that he's going to end up having to have surgery on his LCL.
Yeah.
I think is what it is. His LCL, and there's a chance we'll see what happens. It says right at LCL. So
I mean, obviously, if you're in redraft leagues and you've already filled up your IR spot with maybe a better player or more potential, like Puka, right? I had to put Puka on there. He's in drop territory. You know what I mean? If you don't have options, and they're like it's talking season ending, when they start talking like that, they're talking about their season. You know what I mean? And into the playoffs and the playoff push and the Super Bowls. They're not talking about your fantasy league where the season's over week 15. You know what I'm saying? Week 16.
Yeah.
So. And I happened to look at our league, and it was said that playoffs are in week 16 and 17 or something weird. I didn't think we went that long. I thought we were 15 and 16.
Yeah. No, it's with Yahoo it defaults to the not the last. They cut the last week out. It's the 2 weeks before the last week of
Okay,
the season.
you got to cut that, yeah, because then you got players sitting. Like especially if you got like a stud roster, they already made the playoffs. Then they're just sitting people. You see it every year, and then you're like, oh great, now I got to play a bunch of RB3s. You know what I'm saying? Or that's the team you want to roll into the playoffs against.
Now I got to roll Zeke out here because
And he's done.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. Rico Dowdle's kind of taking that over. He had a good week yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. He had a good week yesterday.
This morning.
Really came out of nowhere, really. I mean, he actually had a decent show. He got you a touchdown. The receiving touchdown, he had 2 catches for 27 yards, 20 rushes for 87 yards.
You know what I really enjoyed was that big fumble on the goal line. Huge fumble.
Right.
Real nice.
I mean,
you see Dak, though? Dak, man, he didn't pull no Cam Newton. It was like, that ain't my problem. He didn't make a business decision. He jumped on that ball. So I was like, hey,
look, the end zone is ball game,
yeah.
right? If it goes through the end zone, back of the end zone, that's ball game.
Well, it fumbled back while they were on the goal line. Like they were about to score and it came back into the field of play, not into the thing. But yeah, I got you. But yeah, no, it was just squirreling around. 2 Pittsburgh players sitting there just like staring at it. They're like, is that a football? And Dak, by the time, I think it was TJ Watt, but by the time he reacted, he dove towards it, but Dak already cleaned it up. But yeah, dude, it's like, oh my God, absolutely insane.
So, and continuing with Kansas City, another big topic of discussion is what are we doing with Pat Mahomes? Are we playing him? Are we benching him? What are we doing? To which my response was, do you got the balls to bench Pat Mahomes?
I talked about this 2 weeks ago. I was like, he's actually almost droppable at this point. You know what I mean? So this week he's projected 22.85 points. He's got you 82.5 throughout the season, which is, I mean, not really great. And then his average right now is 20.63, which is decent, right? Think of it, middle of the road kind of guy. Who else is out there scoring you more points? Yeah, Flacco. You know what I mean? Like there's tons of other talent that you're putting in. Look, this is fantasy. Like I say, it's not, real world. You're not hoping that your team has Joe Flacco. You're hoping your team has Pat Mahomes, right? In real life. But I mean, for me, I'm not starting. I probably have another option. And we talked about this last week. All the people that were available in the league, give me somebody else.
Okay. You guys think Tracy will get more playing time with how good he did, or does he just go back to the bench? He's definitely earned himself some playing time after that performance yesterday. He's the guy that they drafted for the future, right? Devin Singletary is a nice running back, but he's not the long-term answer there, right? And when you got these young guys, you play him.
Yeah, they picked him up after Saquon left for the Phillies. So, he was just like a kind of a Band-Aid, and he can do it all, right? So he's actually a starter when he's available. He's, he can catch the ball in the backfield. He can run the ball as well. He doesn't wear gloves, which is really wild to see these days. He's just out there raw dogging it. And it's just crazy. It is. It's bonkers for me to see that. But yeah, no, I think if you're obviously in a dynasty league, yeah, I like Tracy there, but yeah, I mean, I think he just carved out a little. You've seen it before, right? Where, starting running back goes down, the backup gets time, gets put in the spotlight, and some shine, some don't. And when you shine, you carve in that extra playing time, the more snaps, the more reps, things like that. So
that also gives the Giants they can sit there and they can say, hey, don't rush back, Devin, right? Let's make sure you're fully healthy before you come back. So maybe he sits an extra game because you saw the production out of the kid this week. And against a good defense in Seattle, right?
Mhm.
Running backs don't get a ton of yards off of Seattle. They're fairly good. Next week they've got another decent matchup with Cincinnati that does pretty decent against the run, but Tracy's out there in 73% of your Yahoo leagues right now.
Yeah,
and I expect to see a big pickup margin on him this week.
yeah. Back to we were talking about Mahomes, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's not even, I don't think, top 20 right now in points. So you have, Justin Fields, Cousins, Purdy, Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams is in front of him right now. So even Aaron Rodgers.
Jaden
And
Daniels is in front of him, right?
yeah, Jaden Daniels, he's up. I just started picking like some names that aren't that great. You know what I
Jaden
mean?
Daniels is one of your top players in fantasy football right now.
He's fourth in the QBs, 138 points. Lamar obviously in first, 160. Burrow after that amazing game, 148. I think Jamar Chase is the number one player in the league, points
Yeah.
overall.
It
He's
just depends on your league scoring. Like in Yahoo, just Yahoo regular Yahoo default scoring, which is a half point PPR. Your top 3 players are Lamar Jackson, Jane Daniels, and Baker Mayfield.
nice.
Yeah.
Real nice. But yeah, dude. I mean, anybody you're playing tonight or anybody you benching, who you avoiding? You know, there's always with New Orleans Saints. I posted, I was like, you know what? Who's taking Chris Olave? Who's taking Rashid Shaheed tonight?
I like Shaheed. Shaheed's a player that I talked about a lot on Saturday. A lot of people were asking me, "Hey, this guy or Shaheed? This guy or Shaheed?" He came up a lot. I think one of the biggest ones was Jackson Smith and Jigba and Shaheed. And that was a tough call. I kind of went more towards Shaheed. Jackson Smith did okay. He got that late touchdown that really helped his numbers this last week. But I just see Shaheed he's getting the usage, he's getting the target shares. I like Shaheed this week. Um, and you're they're gonna have to try and keep up with scoring, right? Kansas City's gonna try and score a lot. You know you always have to score a lot when you're going up against Pat Mahomes, no matter how good they're playing or not. They still know how to put up points, and Andy Reid knows how to figure things out, even if they're struggling, right? They're 4-0, but a kind of they're the worst one of the worst 4-0 teams you've seen, right? They're a
Yeah.
couple calls away from not being 4-0, right?
That's about every year right there, buddy. You know what I mean? That's what, we post that in our Facebook group, our Strikeout Beer Facebook group, because that's where everything started for us, right? And it was like, they had a picture of a ref on the medical table, getting looked at, and they're like, well, I don't know, it's gonna be a tough week for the Chiefs. And I was like
Or
everybody
you get
chimed in.
videos, the guys are like, "Hey, I got my new Chiefs jersey in today," and they pull out a ref the striped jersey, the black and white one,
And
just
it's every week with them, right? So you see that every single week. Like, as soon as this game's over, if they win, it's going to be MVP for the refs. It's going to be everybody's got the ref, all that kind of stuff. Mahomes kissing the ref, all that kind of stuff. Some games they straight up win, absolutely. I don't doubt that they are the best team in the league, right? They somehow win. They win Super Bowls. They're the back-to-back champions. But yeah, there's questionable calls in both of those championships and along the whole way, to where it's like, yeah, buddy, I don't think you really won those games, but it is what it is. It's in the record books. They won. It's over, right? But yeah, no. For tonight, taking a look at Shaheed and Olave, they're 56.9 points for Shaheed. Olave's got 53.20 for the season. The real difference comes, I think, Shaheed has the extra touchdown, but Olave has the 5 extra. Yeah, Olave only has 1, but Olave has the 5 extra receptions. Now targets are 25-24 in favor of Shaheed. So it's like it's crazy how close both of these receivers are to one another. And they're top receivers, they're nothing to sneeze to look, shoo away. But man, could you imagine if there was a focus on one of these dudes? He'd be number 1, he'd be wide receiver 1 in the league.
Yeah. And I mean, like last week, Olave had a pretty good showing. He had 10 targets, 8 catches. He's had 80 yards the last 3 weeks. Um, the big thing I think that sets Shaheed apart is if you have a scoring where you get extra points for 40+ yard plays,
Mhm.
because that's what you're going to get with Shaheed. You're going to probably get one of those a game, if not 2. There's some weeks where he busts 2 big plays loose. And that's kind of for me, that's kind of the difference between those 2 receivers is the big playability that you get out of Shaheed that you don't get out of Olave.
Yeah, word. So obviously with Kamara he's actually the highest scorer on this team for the season. He's got 108 points. Obviously, Carr has cooled off completely. I don't want to say completely, but he's got you 85 points. And then you got the 2 obviously with Hill out this week. Are you looking for Williams to do anything?
I mean, maybe.
They're just going to lean on Kamara even more.
Definitely going to be leaning on Kamara. Williams, you kind of thought he was starting to get some of that usage that he was getting in Detroit after week 1 when he's finally starting to get the ball, but that's kind of tapered off, right? He started off big with 11 carries in week 1, and it's kind of 8 week 2, 1 week 3, 3 week 4. They've really kind of gone away from him after going heavy on him big in week 1. Now, that could also have to do with the fact that they were up big early. And so it's like, hey, let's pull back the reins on Kamara, right? So
Yeah.
if it's a close game, I don't think you see the usage out of Williams. It's going to be more so if for some reason the Saints are blowing them out, then you start to see a little bit more Williams.
Yeah. Right now, Kamara's averaging you 27.15 points. He's got 90.5 yards, averaging 1.3 touchdowns per game on the ground, averaging 4.3 receptions and 43.5 yards in the air, man. I tell you what, it looks like the days of old with this guy. Like, remember, we used to fight over him. Like, it was like, this is the guy, especially in PPR, man. We were like, I mean, I've won championships with this man on my team.
His rookie year, he led me down the road to a championship.
Hey, Lizzie. You got a question there?
Yeah. So would you trade Devonta Smith and Higgins for AJ Brown PPR redraft? I don't think I would trade two for AJ Brown. First of all, you got two guys that you don't know when they're coming back, Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, right? You've got, let's see here, they're expecting them both back in week 6, but we'll see. You know, Devonta Smith's dealing with a concussion. Sometimes those can linger. AJ Brown, you're dealing with a hamstring. And the thing is, once you start dealing with a hamstring, it can continue throughout the season, right? Playing and continuing to play while dealing with a hamstring injury is tough. And a lot of times you see those guys re-aggravate those hamstring injuries. I like T. Higgins. And when Devonta Smith comes back, I like him too. I don't think those two guys are worth A.J. Brown.
Oh, they're worth more.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I wouldn't trade them for A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I talk about when, you know, every time there's a speedster, and if you don't think AJ Brown's a speedster, go back and watch the highlight of him tracking down a damn defensive back at full freaking speed, going faster than Usain Bolt, you know, to stop that touchdown. He is a speedster. He's just a giant of a man as well. But for that, you know, if you want to get cute right now or something, you can sell Higgins high, even though Higgins is probably going to get dealt. And that's you kind of want to get out of that. You know, if he gets dealt, you don't know where he's going to end up going. He's unhappy. He was unhappy with the loss in overtime, which, you know, everybody's criticizing the play call, which I agree. But you know, I think if you want to get cute with Higgins, or if you want AJ Brown, I think you can sell high on Higgins by himself right now. I think both of those dudes is way overkill for a guy that, you know, he might be back in week 6. He might be he might get hurt again. You know what I mean? I'll give up a wide receiver 2 for him, though.
Yeah. Shaka. No, we were assuming that you were the one getting AJ Brown. I would not trade Devonta Smith and Higgins for AJ Brown.
I would do straight up Higgins for AJ Brown, and the guy's going to take it. He'll take it. He'll break his phone hitting that button so fast, because look at the upside, really. And, you know, but if he does go somewhere else,
here's the thing, though. If you do pull the trigger on that deal, you got to hope Jalen Hurts comes through. Because if Jalen Hurts doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and you're starting Devonta Smith and AJ Brown,
the stack. I think you got a deal. You got to deal Devonta.
I don't feel comfortable stacking Devonta Smith and AJ Brown with how Jalen Hurts has looked.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I'll play one of them.
Yeah,
but 2, that's a stack I would want to stay away from.
So there you go. I think if you want to do it, I think you can get AJ Brown for Higgins right now, but I think you have to also deal Devonta Smith. You have to go get somebody else for him, because I think that's a terrifying stack. I mean, I'll stack Jamar Chase and Higgins, but I'm not, because I got Burrow back there, but I'm not stacking. Oh, but that's a stack. That's a, you know, if it pays off, you're a genius, but I don't see it paying off very often.
All right, we got another question. Cross, would you guys trade Brian Robinson for Devontae Adams? No, I would not. Full PPR, no. No, I wouldn't, because
Robinson's looking good.
Where's Devontae going?
Jets.
Okay, then absolutely not. I don't care about the history that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams have, because Aaron Rodgers isn't that guy anymore, and the Jets isn't the Green Bay Packers back then. The Jets' offensive line is garbage. They're the second worst rushing team in the league. With Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, they're one of the worst rushing teams in the league. If you're not running the ball, that just leaves the other team free to just pin their ears back and rush Rodgers. I don't like that. Now, if Devontae Adams ends up somewhere else, a better situation, maybe. But also, are we talking dynasty? Are we talking redraft? I would be more prone to hold on to Brian Robinson in a dynasty league versus a redraft. I'd also kind of have to see the rest of the roster. Like, because I had someone ask me about trading, hey, would you trade this guy for him? And I'm like, no, not really. He's like, well, I also have Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm like, well, then you're set running back wise. Like,
He's just
then
making trades to make trades.
yeah, then no, well, he was going to be trading away a good running back,
Mhm.
but left off the fact. And I was like, no, just that, no. And he's like, well, I already have these two guys. I'm like, well, oh, I think he had like Jonathan Taylor. Like, it was something absurd. Like, he had
Yeah.
three first, number one sit and play guys.
That was
And
last week, I think, and we're like, "What? How'd you?" And because I was trading, he goes, "And I just made another trade. I just, you know what I mean?" The guy was just wheeling and dealing. It's if that's gets you through it. I mean, if you can acquire some talent, especially in redraft, obviously, dynasty, you got to you do have to look towards the future and things like that. But yeah, I mean, Brian Robinson, I think you want to hold in dynasty. I think you might want to hold him this year, just depending on where Devontae's going and how quick they deal him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
You're trading for a
rumors,
name, and we love that name. I love Devontae Adams. I've had, I tell you what, I don't know how many drafts I walked away with him. I go, feel pretty good. You know what I mean? But like you said, it's over. It's not the same anymore. And even with him on the Raiders is hit or miss.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to know where Devontae's going. Now, if Devontae ends up on the Chiefs, okay, now we're talking, right? Now, yeah, I'll trade Brian Robinson for Devontae Adams, depending if I still want to make sure I'm not getting rid of my running back depth, right? I got to make sure I have some other running backs to fill that void. But that situation, yeah. But I mean, even like there's rumors that he might get traded to Detroit, which would be awesome. But now you're dealing with a crowded receiver room there, right? And is he going to get the ball can only go to so many players, right? And with Washington, Brian Robinson's getting the ball a good chunk of the time. So
And on the goal line.
Yeah, and on the goal line. So at that situation, you're looking at it's just the football's going to be there, right? So would you take Breece Hall for Drake May? Which end are you on?
So I'll tell you what the end she's on here. If you want to put it up on the screen, there we go. I got it. This is in the Strikeout Beer, the SB Fantasy Football League, super flex, wild ass scoring, and she's been hit up to trade away Drake May, which he's about to start here in a week or so, I think, for New England. But she got offered some subpar player, Wicks. I'll be honest with you, it was Wicks, right? She was like, I was like, no. I mean, quarterbacks are such a premium here, and you're going to need him in week 14.
Completion.
Yeah,
point per completion.
So I was like, well, Breece Hall's not doing so well right now. I wouldn't take that trade, but if you're asking me what I think, I was like, I would go after. He's got running back depth, and Breece Hall sucks right now. Ask for his RB1. I mean, he's not performing like RB1. It's like you could probably, I was like, you don't need receivers. You got receivers. She's one of those that has Olave, Shaheed, and then she's got that problem, but then also has Tyreek Hill, which is a whole nother situation. And you know what I mean? You talk about just a team that fell apart quick. But yeah, I mean, for me, I say for a QB, because he's looking for obviously a week fill in for bye weeks, right?
Right.
He's looking for a bye week fill in. He doesn't, he didn't get what he needed, didn't draft appropriately or something like that, or injuries or whatever. I was like, you can ask for anything you want, because that week, Breece Hall might get him 4 points, 10 points, maybe. You know what I mean? If he's still down. I go, Drake May can get him anywhere from 50 points to 75, in our league. Especially depends on how much he's throwing. If he sucks, it might give him 3 points, but he's looking for the 50 to 75 range. I was like, that's probably worth it.
I mean, I need to look at the rest of her roster, which I have that ability.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up.
I have that ability.
You know what? I can show the screen. You want me to flash her up on the screen for you, bud? I mean, I've got about 24 more minutes
Go
before
for it.
game time here. Is it it's strike up here, right? Yeah, strike up here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go to league real quick. We're gonna do overview, and then I'm gonna put her roster up on the screen for
She
everybody to
needs a
see.
running back. Oh, does she need a running back?
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna present. I've already got it. Share screen. Sacks in the city. Share. All right. Here we go. Coming in hot. Let me take it down. Let me zoom in a little bit. All right. So there you go. So you got Flacco. She does have AR. She put Flacco in this week, and that's what Dylan was bitching about. So you got Olave, Shaheed, Trey Sermon, Antonio Gibson, Brock Bowers, and then had Amari Cooper in for the flex this week, and then Trevor Lawrence, the second quarterback. On the bench, you got Cam Akers, Anthony Richardson, Brandon Ayuk. Terrible week to bench him, but it happened. Devin Singletary, Tyreek Hill, Alec Pierce, and Drake May. So she obviously, you can see there, she doesn't have a lot of depth. She had to carry an extra quarterback because of Anthony Richardson, right?
I mean, yes, I trade away Drake May to get Brees Hall because you have no running backs. Because I mean, Trey Sermon isn't. Once Jonathan Taylor's back, Trey Sermon's back down to. He gets relegated. Antonio Gibson started this week, but it was still Ramondre's team.
Yeah.
You know, Cam Akers is just awful. This is bottom line. He's not good.
Well, was it Damian Pierce was back this week too? So yeah, and Cam Akers had a terrible run. Like, you know, he got you 14 points, which was higher than expected
because he got the touchdown, right?
It's like, dude, yeah, it was like, God, you had a chance to like just tear up these past couple weeks.
We've been talking about Cam Akers every week on Saturday night, and I keep telling everybody, I don't care if he's starting there. He's just not good. He's been on like 3 teams in the last 2 years for a reason. And he's gone out and shown it, 7 for 32, 9 for 21, 13 for 53. I mean, 9 for 42 is pretty good, but it's up against Buffalo, who's the worst team against the run. They give up the most points to running backs in fantasy right now. So, but you need a running back. You don't need Drake May.
Yeah.
Let Drake May go.
That's what I said. Oh, I said, well, he sent over that one BS. He sent me, I think, Wicks for Burrow or something. I was like, are you nuts?
Trying to capitalize off the big week that Wicks had the week before, right? Yep. And I told everyone this week, everyone's like, hey, do I need to drop? They're talking about dropping good players for Wicks. I'm like, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Jordan Love threw the ball 50 times. He's not going to do that every week. This is probably just an outlier. Let's chill.
Yeah.
Let's just hold off another week. Let everyone else overreact, drop good players for Wicks, and then you pick up those players. That's what you do. You prey on the weak-minded, because that's what you are. If you're dropping shit on a player that you had and you believed in, who started off a little bit rough for a guy who had one big week.
Yeah.
And then he did nothing this week.
And I was like, you got the upper hand here. You have the upper hand. He needs this more than anything. Anyway, and Drake May is, he's not starting yet, but he will be starting here pretty soon. It is like, and you need a running back. So counter, but ask for somebody. I think he had Dobbins as well. It's like counter with, Brees. I go, if he says no, counter again with Dobbins. You know what I mean? I was like, I kind of would rather have Dobbins if Herbert's okay, because if Herbert's okay, he spreads that field, and if those receivers are coming to play, dude, Dobbins he reaps the benefits of that. You got a couple questions here from Michael and the Smitty.
Yeah. Let's see here, Michael Ogumwawe, or however you say his name.
I can never say it.
Better for sure. Yeah, he had a great week this last week. 15 for 30, but 6 catches for 57 yards. And that's the big thing right there, especially in your PPR formats. And he is literally available in all of your leagues. He's rostered in 1% of Yahoo leagues right now. And just for the record, he's gone up +1 in the last day. So he wasn't even picked up until that. There's some leagues that don't do waivers, right? And that's why that shows that those pickups there for the last day. Yeah. So
I don't mind the no waiver leagues, but
yeah, Ramondre, yeah, he got benched and came out and played great.
we talked about it. That's what it takes sometimes. You have to say you're not starting this week, and then all of a sudden he's the one. I mean, do you see him? He was a man on a mission out there,
Yep.
and he got the plowing.
I mean, I'll be honest. I benched him. I benched him.
Mm.
Didn't know what I was going to get out of him. I needed a guy that I knew was going to get the ball. You didn't know how much he was going to get the ball, right?
Who'd you start over?
I can't remember.
Come on, you know who it is.
Hold on. I gotta go and look. You got.
Oh, you have to look. Man, I know you know.
No, I don't know. I have him in a couple leagues.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started him in sleeper. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be that guy. And especially we had the stream and we were talking about it. I was like, you can go pick up Antonio Gibson and he's probably gonna get you some points, right? He got you 11 fantasy points on like our crazy super league. But
right.
I was like, they're doing this to slap him on the wrist and to wake him up. And the ball security thing was an issue. And he got out there and he proved every second that he is the guy. I mean, I'm telling you, we've been fans of him since he broke out on the scene. And there's nothing. I started Javonte Williams over him, so it worked out. I feel you.
Yeah, that worked out. Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason was who I started over him.
Oh, but that's not even that big of a. I mean, what kind of league are you playing in there? I mean, you picked him off waivers. Obviously, you didn't draft a handcuff, but yeah, Mason had a rough day. Lost the ball, I think, once. It was a tough outing. And then, of course, they lost because Moody. I think the reason they lost was because Moody got hurt. He got rolled up, he rolled his ankle or something like that trying to tackle somebody. He got put in the pile of a bunch of, giants.
Right.
Like,
but
400-pound dudes.
In that league, it would have been either the running backs I started, I had one in the flex, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, and then Jerome Ford, who wasn't that great.
How bad do the Browns suck?
Dude, I mean,
they're calling they're so bad they're asking for Jameis to start.
Well, you might be getting that soon because did you see Watson walk off the field as the coach is telling him to go for it on fourth down, and Watson's just like, nah, I'm good, bro, and just walks off the field, like takes the helmet off and says, nah, we ain't going for it. Like
the biggest mistake they've ever made, and they've made a ton of mistakes, and this is one of them. This is one of their I think their biggest in history.
Especially with the way Baker's played, right?
Oh yeah.
You got rid of you traded for Deshaun Watson, who was before the massages was great, right? And then all that goes down. He misses a year and then comes back and he's just been trash.
Yeah. All the handies. He's just tuckered out, man.
And Baker's been great since then. So
he probably just needs a sandwich or something. You know what I mean? Like
maybe
be a cigarette and a sandwich.
He's a little tense. He needs a little massage, but can't get that done anymore.
I was gonna pull up. I wanted to see the actual stat line for Javonte, but yeah, Jesus.
I can get it for you.
Tank Bigsby, I think, was your big dog of the week.
Tank Bigsby had a good week.
Williams did 16, 0.10 points, 61 yards on the ground, 50 in the air, the 5 receptions, man. I'll tell you what, I heard people barking and kind of bitching about, PPR leagues and stuff like that. Like, hey, you don't need to change. You don't need dude, I love PPR leagues. I play regular league and I think it sucks. I don't like low scoring. And that one cool thing about our league, and next year we are going to do something slightly different. If the SB Fantasy Football, if you're new to this podcast, welcome in. But all this started from Strikeout Beer, our main podcast, and we do an annual fantasy league for our viewers, right? Subscribers on Twitch, but now we've kind of just been on YouTube here. We've started just going straight to YouTube. But yeah, next year it'll probably be like a 10-man league because of the crazy. You can't pick up quarterbacks and stuff like that. It's kind of getting kind of whatever. But we're in a crazy scoring league. QB super flex, points per completion.
Points per completion. Points per. You get first down points for first downs. You get points for just about anything you can get a point for. We're getting a point for. PPR is fun. I love seeing the high scores.
I do want the points per attempt on running backs now. I want to add that for next year, but I think we got to dial this down to 10-man league because with QBs at a premium in the limited amount of them and things like and people
or we take away the super flex. If we keep the number of teams in there, then you take it down.
If we do that, then we can bump it up to 14.
Dude, Smitty's got a high scoring league. Cousins put up 111 in my league.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
I had a league back in the day with a bunch of friends, and we did a points per completion type thing. And Drew Brees was like the guy that everybody wanted. And there was several weeks where like Drew Brees is putting up 150, 160, 170, just insane, insane numbers.
Hold on, I'm going to my matchup right now because I know. So Burrow 128,
Yeah.
128 points.
What
Yep, he
what
had Chase too, and he had 63.
what did Cousins put up in our league this year?
I don't know. He
This
put up
week?
50 in my cousin's league. I was like, "Ooh!" I was so pissed I benched him. But then that's the league I played. I did a bit and drafted all Bengals players. So I
Yeah.
had Burrow and Chase. So I killed that dude this week. I was like, "Sorry about your luck, chump." And they're all from Kentucky and Cincinnati and stuff. I was like, "None of you jerks went for any Bengals. I got every one of them."
He went for 142.9.
He was cold. He was so cold.
42 completions, 509 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Crazy, absolute bonkers. And like I said, I'm a big fan of that. I really enjoy PPR. That's kind of, I've only been in one standard league, and that was when I joined my cousin's league, right? And that had quickly been turned over because it went to PPR. Well, he joined the Strikeout Bear League for a couple seasons, and he's like, I think I like it better, So he instituted hey, let's take a vote. I was like, my vote. So
Yeah. That's talk about a weak commissioner. You got to take a vote. Just be a man and make a decision. Come on.
he's a man of the people. You're a dictator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a difference.
I'm a man of the people.
No,
I
you're
get what they
not.
want. They just don't know it yet. Okay.
You're the dictator. You know what I mean? You're like, the people love me. They're like, everybody just hates your guts. But
Everybody loves me. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, so let's go down the list real quick. We got probably 10 minutes left. I don't want to keep you too long tonight. And we do have Monday Night Football to look at, the Saints and the Chiefs.
Could be a fun game.
Yep. So let's look at the Chiefs real quick. You got Mahomes scheduled or projected at 22.85 points. Kelsey 14.04. Worthy at 11.28. Kareem Hunt 11.16. Then it drops off. Obviously, P. Ryan and Watson, they're 7 and 6. Juju Smith, we already talked about him too. He's projected for 5.5. I mean, I think he's the sneaky one here. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is going to get some action. Worthy should see more, obviously. And do you think Kelsey puts up a show?
Yeah, but his numbers are going to continue to go up from last week, right? I think Kelsey's going to start showing up. He has to now. All right. Because you heard him talk a couple weeks ago. He's like, look, I'm not concerned about my numbers. The team's doing good. The team is winning. I'm fine. If I got to go run some distractions for some other guys to get the ball for us to make plays, I'm all about it. Well, those other guys are gone now. So now you've got to step it up and do what you need to do. Right. Look for his numbers to be good, continue to be good. I think he kind of starts to return the form that we've seen in previous years.
Yeah. You want to handle that one before we go to the
Do you think Fields lost his job? I hope not. That's my QB too. I think if he loses his job, it's not going to be for long. Because say what you will, Fields hasn't been bad.
No.
He hasn't been bad. For some reason, they didn't want to. I actually figured that he was going to run the ball a lot more last night.
Mm-hmm.
But he threw it okay. Look for. I just don't think Russell Wilson's that guy. I don't think he's that good. I think his best years are behind him. We'll see.
But I don't even think you can threaten him with Russell Wilson. Like, hey, we're going to bench you for Russell. He's like, yeah, all right, okay. That's funny. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I got him as my flex, he's my backup as in my QB3. So he's going to be plugged in on bye weeks. And I think I had to play him this week as well. I mean, Justin Fields, it's not terrible. Yeah, he should have ran more. He should have just did what Justin Fields does and got out there, chaos, running all crazy. Lamar Jackson looked like Justin Fields on Sunday. That's how crazy and elusive finally like Lamar looked. Lamar looked like it was 5 years ago. He's just running wild. So,
well, they've made a conscious effort not to run Lamar as much because they just don't want him to get hurt. Because if he gets hurt, they're screwed, right? Yeah. So they've really made a conscious effort to kind of, hey, we're going to pick and choose our spots where you're going to run. If you need to, just throw the ball away. We're going to be just fine. Don't try and force things to happen. We still got a good defense. We're going to be okay.
Well, that's the thing. They weren't design runs. but the Bengals were getting through the line, and he was just making things happen. It was crazy. Like some of the throws were amazing. The commentators were talking about, they go, when he gets in the Hall of Fame, they're going to use this as a highlight. That one throw that he went all the way to the right sideline and just heaved it up. And there's Eichley. It looked like the Niners versus the Cowboys back in the 80s. You know what I mean? I was like, holy crap, that's bonkers. But yeah, I don't think he's going to lose his job, and I don't think they could even threaten him with it. If they want to lose a week, they'll put Russ in. You know what I mean?
They've been talking. They're saying, hey, look, no, the only reason why Fields is still playing is because we're letting Russ heal, and once Russ heals, he's coming back in. Like, they've been adamant about that Fields, this isn't Fields' job. This is still Russell Wilson's job, and we're letting him heal and get better. Fields he's played good enough that he's allowing us this opportunity to let Russ fully heal and not have to rush him back. But I don't know. Like,
could you imagine that? You go 3-1.
Won that game, right?
Yeah. You go 3-1, and they're like, you know what? They lost. I mean, they lost against Cowboys at home, and I know that's like devastating to them. I know, and especially with the depleted, defense for the Cowboys. They can't stop the run. They're already down dudes, and they still lost. They're down dudes on offense, defense, and they somehow still lost that game.
And what does that say about that Pittsburgh offensive line? Right? They're not that great. If you can't run the ball against Dallas, oh, buddy. Problems. Like, here's a look ahead to next week. Start Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery next week, because the Lions are going to have a field day running against Dallas.
Oh, I was like, I don't understand where this is going, but you always try to shoehorn in a
But I'm just we're talking about Dallas and how bad they are against the run.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who likes to throw a little coin on some games, take the over on the rushing yards for both of those guys, because you're trying to tell me Detroit doesn't see that and smell blood in the water? Oh, buddy.
They're here in Dallas too. So like, it'll be if they lose, if Detroit comes to town and beats Dallas in Dallas, which has happened before, I'm sure. I don't know. The last time we all went to the game, it didn't happen. But anyway, it's like, you'll just wait for all the brawl videos on Twitter.
Cowboys fans fighting Cowboys fans.
Yeah, they don't fight.
We're not going to be involved in any of these fights. The only involvement we're going to have is we're sitting there watching, laughing as they beat the crap out of each other, because we just beat the crap out of them. Plus, Detroit they're in full blown revenge mode over that game last year. They wanted Dallas in the playoffs last year. They were pissed when Dallas lost, because they wanted to play Dallas again and wanted to beat the living crap out of them. Look for that to be a high scoring affair for Detroit. Whatever the points are for Detroit, take the over. Whatever the rushing yards are, take the over. It's going to be like that week one when we went into overtime and we just turned around and handed David Montgomery the ball 90 yards down the field or whatever it was, and just ran the same play over and over and over again. That's what's going to happen. So,
yeah, maybe we'll make a short of what the actual the lines are here after this week's over, and we'll let you know, because if they're reasonable. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm getting in on that action. Taking a look at the New Orleans Saints here. Derek Carr projected 17.91 points. Kamara 17.64. Olave 14.29. Shaheed 12.05. Then obviously it drops off. Johnson 5.08. Williams 4.01. I think he might get a little bit more action with what's his name being out, Hill. But I mean, I think it's the Kamara and Olave Shaheed show. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And look for Carr to have a decent game. I mean, Kansas City's defense is middle of the road as far as allowing fantasy points to quarterbacks. So, but look for them to come out guns a-blazing, right? If that's the one thing that you look at with teams that are going up against Kansas City, they're going to come out full speed ahead, pedal to the metal. We've got to score points. Maybe you have a couple opportunities where you could have kicked a field goal, and they're looking at, nope, field goals aren't going to cut it against Kansas City. We got to get touchdowns. You got to go for the jugular when you're playing Kansas City.
Yeah, you got the spread over there. Bovada won't let me in. I can't get to because I wanted to do final thoughts on the actual game. Hold on, maybe it'll let me without signing in. Dude, it's been so weird lately with this site. I don't know what the deal is.
So I got
do the over under, the spread, and the money line.
So I got Kansas City -5, and then I'm pulling this off of ESPN.
Oh,
And the total is 43.5 is what I got. I'm taking the over on that. 43.5. I think that's low. I think that's
just
real
don't want
low.
a dud, man. Some of these games where you expect a ton of offense, it just ends up being a dud. But both these teams have, I think, proven that they can score points and get things going. Let me take a look at the last couple games for the Saints real quick.
And I'm taking
Look,
the Saints in the points. Like,
the 5 points, it's gone down too. It was 5.5, it was 6, then 5.5, and now 5.
yeah, I'm going to take the points there. Um, I expect it to be a pretty close game. I don't see Kansas City blowing them out. Kansas City hasn't blown anybody out this year.
Yeah, you have the Saints obviously blowing out Panthers week 1, 47-10. Then they put 44 up on the Cowboys. Lost to the Eagles in a nail biter, kicking expedition or what do you call it? No, that ain't the word. It's something else.
Kicker showcase.
Yeah, kicker showcase. The Falcons beat them last week, 26-24. So they do put up points against decent teams. They just kind of struggle for some reason at home against the Eagles. And as far as Kansas City Chiefs, looking at their last couple games, just waiting for it to load. Sorry about that. They beat the Ravens 27-20, Bengals 26-25, Falcons 22-17, and then 17-10 against the Chargers. So I think the over is absolutely in play here. It's just if Carr gets things going right. Oh, we got a trade question here.
Oh, this is George. This is George, who I was talking about the other day, because he had Barkley and Gibbs. Trade Mason for A-Chain.
Yes. Absolutely. You have Barkley and Gibbs. You really only need Mason to fill in for the upcoming Philadelphia bye week. Hold on. Was that this week? It was this week. Philadelphia was a bye week this week, and so was Detroit.
Yeah. George was hurting this week.
So now you're just kind of chilling, waiting on, someone else gets hurt or you put him in a flex. A-Chain on the reeling Miami team. Holy moly.
Here. So you're giving up Mason, right, to get A-Chain. I just want to make sure.
No.
Sometimes people have worded these differently.
Oh, I'm not in then. Yes, no, I'm not in. I'm sorry. I want Mason. I don't want A-Chain.
I don't want A-Chain.
Not at all.
Now, the only way that's going to change, A-Chain got a concussion this week.
Yeah, he's questionable.
He left the game with a concussion. Not that he was doing anything, and now he's got a bye week to recoup. Then you come back. Here's the thing: you've got a pretty good span of games, weeks 8 through 11, against some of the worst teams against the run. But if I don't have Tua,
it's all for nothing.
There's no threat of the pass game, so they just throw 8 in the box and they stop the run.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
this is for you.
I assumed when you said I have a question for you.
With Tua, how beaten up he's got, he's almost been knocked out of the league. Do they take extra steps and more precautions with A-Chain with this concussion?
I mean, they should.
Do they hold him out longer? Do they do this and do that? And like kind of overcompensate for what they did with Tua instead of just propping him up, burn a weekend at Bernie style and just letting him get cracked again in that game? That game was disgusting. That was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in the league.
I mean,
next to the perfect take.
Here's the difference. A-Chain doesn't have that history of the concussions that Tua does, right? Yeah. That concussion wasn't the first one. Now it was the worst one, and it was completely ugly. But I want Mason and I don't want A-Chain. Especially because all the news that comes out about CMC sounds like, I mean, the more they talk about it, the more I wonder if this guy's ever going to play football again.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, he was sent to Germany for the special treatment. Apparently that didn't do anything. He's dealing with the arthritis, and kind of how I compared him on Saturday when I was talking was how Todd Gurley, where Todd Gurley was awesome, and then all of a sudden he was just gone, just like that. He freaking Kaiser Soze'd it, right?
Yeah,
he was just freaking gone, and no one even knew.
Was that not the weirdest thing ever?
It was so crazy. Like, he was the best guy in the league, and then gone the next season.
Yeah.
Just done. Um, and that might be CMC. Like, and Achilles are tough. Like, Achilles are rough. Achilles injuries, it takes longer to recover from Achilles injury than it does a knee injury these days.
Yeah.
Um,
And with having tendonitis in both of those Achilles in both of his legs, I just think I don't know if they go out and get somebody else or not. They signed him 2 years. He's getting a buttload of dough. Mason's a good fill in though. I mean, he hasn't been terrible, but yeah, I feel bad for CMC. I don't know if we'll ever see him again.
yeah, no clue. But with A-Chain, if there's no threat of the pass, there's no threat of the run because they're just going to throw 8 in the box.
Yeah.
So the only way I would consider this is if it's a dynasty league, which if I remember correct, George, you're a redraft. So I'm not in a redraft league. I'm not doing it. In a dynasty league, yes, because there's a future for A-Chain. Not sure if there's a future for Mason, right? Um, but yeah, I don't pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like I was like, in regards to the dynasty, I was like, dynasty, yeah, maybe, but if not, I don't know.
Yeah,
Man, yeah,
I would.
it's amazing how Tua getting injured again this year, and that was another nasty concussion. It's like, what are they gonna do if they don't have him? You're looking at it right now; they're in disarray.
Well,
Obviously,
they're losing a lot, and
yeah.
they're going to draft Quinn Ewers in the offseason.
Man, crazy. That guy gets in there and balls out. I don't know. I don't know. It's too early. Too early to think about that. But it does show how imperative to have Tua healthy on this team. I mean, yeah, they can't win in late December or in the cold and things like that. But for fantasy relevance and things, he is absolutely relevant. I mean, he
And
puts up
it shows
good
the
numbers.
importance of having a backup quarterback. You don't have a backup quarterback, so when your quarterback goes down, you're effed.
Yeah,
You're screwed.
I'd be calling Brady and say, "Hey, man, what is the number to get you out of that box to get you down on the field?" It's
I
Miami,
mean,
baby. It's party season all year round. Beautiful
Miami can't
weather.
pay. I don't. Miami can't pay him enough because he's getting paid an absurd amount of money to call football games, and unfortunately for them, he's gotten better at it. It's not like Jason Witten when he went and did it,
Oh,
right?
God,
Where
no.
he was just awful and he got worse and worse. And then he was like, "Hey, Cowboys, what are you doing? Can I come back and play again?" They're like, "Yeah, come on back, buddy." And so and then when he finished that time, he's like, "I'm gonna go coach a high school ball now."
Yeah, don't take shots at Witten, but yeah, no, I
I'm
got you. I
not.
feel you.
Hey,
It sounds like a
he won
shame.
a state championship over there, you know? Um,
Where's he at nowadays? What
uh,
high school?
Liberty
Oh,
out
Liberty.
here in the DFW area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. You see Flacco just come in for the Browns last year. He's in for the Colts now, and it's tough to have a reliable, stable, veteran quarterback. Andy Dalton too, right? Andy Dalton. I mean, they benched him this week to put in Bryce because they were down by 1 million and they weren't coming back. It just nothing was working right for them that day. But have a veteran quarterback but they have nobody. They went through their backup and he sucked anyways. And now Huntley is terrible. They're like, oh yeah, this guy was the one that was complaining he wasn't in the Pro Bowl. I was like, you sucked. You weren't great. You were on a team that was you could just kind of get by and you were
Yeah.
beating nobody. But
Yeah. You're like, "Oh, hey, Huntley, he helped take Baltimore to the playoffs a couple of years ago. Let's get this guy in here." Yeah, well, your team's not that Baltimore team. That Baltimore team was pretty darn good.
stacked. Great on defense. Had plenty of weapons on offense.
Great offensive line. I mean, you obviously can see how good Miami's offensive line is as Tua's been killed again. But
R.I.P. We best of wishes and luck to Tua. We can't wait to see him back, but Jesus, I wish he'd retire, to be honest.
same here. You don't want the long term effects off of the hits that dude has taken. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go watch the game. Oh, real quick, you were talking about are we taking the over tonight? You said you're taking the over?
I'm taking the over. I'm
Who's
taking
winning?
the over. Kansas City, but I'm taking the Saints and the points.
Saints and the points. There you
So
go. There's
straight up, Kansas City, points, Saints, over. I mean, 40, what did I say it was? 43?
something low number. It's like 42 or 43 or something like that.
43 and a half. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're worried about it, buy it down a point and a half. I mean, whatever. Chicken.
Don't save
be
the money
scared.
and don't buy it down.
Yeah.
Buy it up and get more money. Is that a thing?
I think so. Michael, we'll see you. Yeah, next stream. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, unless Alan or myself goes live between now and then. That's going to be 7 p.m. Central Time, like I just said, and then we're going to strike up there after that following. But yeah, no, appreciate everybody popping in tonight. You want to run us out of here? I guess let's go watch some football.
We're going to go watch some foosball because despite popular opinion, it is not for the devil. It is for the fun and for the glory of God. Football is.
Whoa.
So, yeah, we went there. You know what? But hey, guys, thanks so much for watching. We love you guys. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD.
Talk to you guys later. Deuces.